I was with a girl, with my mate in a mother and baby unit, and we used to be down there because she was a young mum, and then we used to babysit for one of the girls that lived in the place, and she happened to be a prostitute and a drug taker, and so we used to babysit her kid while she went out. She come back one day and she used to pay us money, but this time she didn't have no money, and she had crack, which is what I know is now. But I didn't know what it was at the time. I was about 15. She said, did we want some? We went into the toilets and she gave me it, and that's the first time I took it. From then, I started smoking it, started buying it, and then met a boyfriend. Was with him for a while. One day I caught him taking heroin, asked him for some. We had an argument and stuff, but in the end he gave me some, and then started taking that as well. Next thing I knew, I just woke up one day and I was ill. I didn't know why, because I thought I had the flu, but it's because I was addicted to heroin.
Can you say something, just a little bit of how come you came here?
Yeah, I was abandoned. As I say, along with my younger brother, I was 6, he was 4, and we were abandoned by my mother on a London street in Balham, it was actually, and we ended up a couple of nights in some place. We were picked up by the police, stayed somewhere a couple of nights, which it's a bit vague, but it was a place, another institution, sort of near Oxford, and then 2 days later we ended up here in Harrow Park. In Harrow, and this is where I stayed till I left school. I feel a bit emotional, but I feel really lucky that I had this chance of living and growing up in this. And it was a shame that it just wasn't more care around relationships and how to be an adult and parenting and all that stuff. It was a shame all that, because I had to learn all that as an adult. But if I'd have learned that as well, I'd have been a really well-rounded human being and wouldn't have got into drugs, potentially. I know that, we can all say, if, but I do believe if I hadn't have been institutionalised, I would have stood a better chance. But this is just wonderful. I could come and live here now quite easily. I'd love to move here today, in fact.
The environment is one of the key kind of areas for problematic substance misuse. If you grow up in a deprived area, then obviously you're going to have very little access to things like sports or other diversions away from drug use. And because of perhaps your parenting, who hasn't had access to them either, so could not give you direction towards that, then obviously as a youth you would be kind of prey to looking at a cheaper alternative to enjoying life, to doing something different. So I think, yeah, environment and peer kind of pressure, or peer norms, can often have an amazing effect on how you develop as a person. And if you develop as a person using drugs as a means of escape, then obviously you're going to use it in later life as a crutch to get you through hard times, or when you're finding life really difficult.
Okay, so Gary, why are we here?
We're here because we're still in Worcester, and which is where I call home, and this is also where my wife, Christine, is buried. She died when she was 28 years old from an overdose. But the reason I'm here is there's something that happened in Bristol with me and Christine. I'd got a call saying that there was a chemist had been robbed and there was some pure heroin for sale. Didn't believe it, but anyway, I went and got the heroin. And me and Christine at that time were going through a really rough time, both of us. We were both addicted at the same time, we've both been the same length of time. She was 28, young 20s. And we decided we'd do a suicide pact. And we'd sort of inject each other with pure heroin, and that would be the end of it, because we thought it was better to die. In the state we were feeling then, it was better to die than to carry on. We'd got the hit, we'd fixed it, we'd cooked it up, we were going to inject each other, but again, not thinking stupidly, but this was going to be it, this was the end. And we'd said goodbye to each other, and I injected Christine. Of course, she was going to inject me, but not thinking. As soon as I injected Christine, of course, she went over. What we call went over, just collapsed because it hit her heart, and it slowed her heart rate so much that she basically stopped breathing, which is called a blue or an overdose. Instead of me then injecting myself, I panicked and went to pick Christine up. Knew that I was in deep trouble because she was obviously not breathing. My nearest friends were just over the way in Bristol, just another street. This is in St Paul's area, Bristol again. I ran over them, told them quickly, she's dying, she's dead. Can you get her to life, please? Can you help me get her back? And so Graham and Trish came in. They helped me. We sorted. We did get Christine, obviously, at that point. This was some years ago, back to life. And we sat her on. We lay her on the bed. She was breathing. She was okay. We knew that that was okay. And then Graham said to me, I hadn't even done mine yet, but Graham said to me, after all of that, somebody coming so close to death, he said, Gaz, can you get me any of that gear? Because it is so good.
The difference between problematic and kind of recreational or non-problematic drug use is, you know, recreational or non-problematic is when people can use drugs and, you know, pick them up and put them down. They still retain the kind of power over the drug. I think problematic is when people no longer have that hold over the drugs have a hold over them.
Christine, it was she paid ultimately with her drug dependency. Unfortunately, she got clean. She struggled with being clean. She struggled with some of the things that she'd done to get her drugs, and she just, in the end, wrote a note and said that she just thought that she'd done enough, had enough, and here she lies, hopefully, in peace in the cemetery in Worcester on a really rainy, wet afternoon. And I'm getting quite emotional now. But